Yes, yes, yes. It's the Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio, and we are live. Just received the notification. Let's get this thing lined up correctly. Let's get the mic right. Let's get the screen right. Stop sharing that. Start sharing this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what are we doing? What are we doing? You are in tune to Boxing Talk with Rafi. What number are you on? I think it's 243. Waiting for it to come around on the little scroller down there, on the little teletext down the bottom. Damn, it's taking an age. I'm pretty sure it's Boxing Talk with Rafi. 243. And what's the main topic? What's the main topic tonight, or this morning, or this afternoon, depending on your location? Send location. I don't even think I got in the damn heading. I'll have to edit that as we go along. But welcome, one and all, to Boxing Talk with Rafi. The main talking point is Usyk. I want justice. I want justice. And how rude of me. How rude of me. Boom, boom, boom. Let's drop the link right there in the chat. OMG. Let me use my new skills. Let me do the sound check. What's the sound check saying? Boom, boom. Let's drop the link. Right. Excellente, excellente. And let's do that little bit of magic. Let's pin that. Pin the link at the top of the chat. Okay, talking about Usyk, we got a bunch of things to talk about. What's on the menu? Pacquiao says, I'm leaning towards Mikey Garcia, although Crawford is not ruled out. What else is on the menu? Gotta give you a peek. Cecilia Brackus. I know I'm a better fighter than Jessica McCaskill. And moving on, who do you have? None other than the controversial Gary Russell. Sorry, Mr. I think he calls himself Mr. Gary Russell. I don't know if there's any kind of gender confusion. I don't know why he's got to put that on there. It's just a title. It should already be on there. I don't know what's going on. Gary Russell, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. and Ray Vargas agreed to terms for featherweight title fight as per the WBC. And got another little tidbit for you. We'll keep that one as a little mystery gift. Okay, so where are we beginning? How am I going to start this thing? Well, you know how I start this shizzle. Order. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so we got the Iron Kong up in the building. We have Pigeon up in the building. How you doing, Pigeon? He's calling himself Boxing Lobsters today. Okay, nice one, Pigeon. The Philip Carl Roberts. Yes. Let's activate. What's activate? Let's activate warp drive and begin this thing. Goody gumdrops. Yes, James Jameson. We're back doing it. The Iron Kong, good evening to you, sir. Good evening to you. And of course, the inimitable, the irrepressible Lisa Bayliss is gracing us this afternoon with her presence. Much thanks, Lisa. Nice of you to come in and bless the thing early. Give your blessings. Okay. Luciferian the Pigeon. Dang, that's the Iron Kong's going hard. What we got here? Okay, have we got to everybody? BG London is in before the Wilder Talk. How you like them apples? And what's going on here? Point of order. Pigeon has served 3.5 weeks under the 1997 Human Rights Bill. He should be released on good behavior, my lord. Well, due to Pigeon's prior convictions, we have to be very careful with the Pigeon. and so extra restrictions have been imposed on the pigeon. But he's coming up to his the end of his suspension, so we will allow him to try again, reset and try again. And DJ Georgie Porgy up in the building. Okay. Okay, Boxing Lobster's got a good sense of humor. And Lisa Bayless is here, confirming her blessing upon the proceedings. Okay, and with that, with Lisa Bayless's blessing, we will proceed with the show. Okay, free the bird. Put the bird in the oven. Okay, let's get into this now. Link is in the chat. Let's get into it. Where are we gonna start? Well, I love pigeons getting a lot of sympathy. Well, I know pigeon better than you guys know pigeon. Let's leave it at that. Pigeon just about to escape the 6-year stretch. And so, he's on tag now. He's on tag. So he's got to be careful where he flies. Okay. So where are we going to start this thing? Are we going to start at the very, very top? Why not? Let's start at the very, very top. The Rafi does things differently. Sometimes I keep the best story till last. Sometimes I go first with the best story, like most people do. But I like to mix it up. But today, I think we're going to start with the headline story because we got some backup stories. Behind the headline story. So let's go with the headline. Where are we? Yes. I think that's the one. Let's line this thing up correctly. And remember, folks, we're here for a good time, not really necessarily for a long time. It's already late. I got to get on home. Okay, so hit that like button. If you're liking the show, smash that subscribe button. If you have not already done so, hit the bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. Okay, and let's get into this shiznix. Objection. Indeed, I hear you. Absolutely. Okay, so let's do this. Right, so Oleksandr Usyk demands justice to receive next world title opportunity. Okay, so it seems like Oleksandr Usyk, seen there, is not the happiest of campers. As a matter of fact, hold on, let's see what this does.
He landed a lot of shots, and if you can...
What are you talking about? Let's kill that news. Kill that, or is this Sky? Who's that? Let's have a look. Who's this? Frutch, the contradiction Frutch. Who's he talking about? What's going on? Are we just watching Frutch? And what's his name? Neil Nelson? No, we don't need that. We don't need that at all. Let's come out of that. Let's reload that page so we can get back to the proper thing. And let's have a look. See, do. And in comes the man like the Iron Kong. The Iron Kong, how do you do today?
I'll go to Rafi. You know what I'm saying? Just joining you as usual. Thank you for having me on, my brother.
Always a pleasure to have the Iron Kong up in the building. But we're going to continue. We're going to continue with the article Iron Kong, and then we're going to chop it up. Okay, so we have hardly moved anywhere. Damn, this is Usyk. Usyk sounding displeased. We have hardly moved anywhere. But Joyce's representatives hit back. Okay, so let's do this thing from the top. Right, let's read the whole thing. So Oleksandr Usyk's promoter on an expected fight against Joe Joyce. We have hardly moved anywhere. But Joyce's representatives hit back. The management teams of the fighters get on well and talks are progressing. Okay, so mixed messages, mixed signals. Okay, let us proceed. Okay, Oleksandr Usyk there with the different colored flames. Very, very colorful. Okay, So, Oleksandr Usyk's promoter has implored the WBO to make the courageous decision to enforce his mandatory title shot and delay Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. No. That's not good. That's not what we want, Oleksandr. You're fighting for something that the fans don't want, are you? Is that what's happened? Is Oleksandr Usyk fighting for something the fans don't want? Let us continue. Let us press on. Okay, so Usyk's negotiations to fight Joe Joyce for the WBO interim title have not progressed in 2 months. OMG. Oleksandr Krasuk claims, but that has been disputed by Joyce's representatives. Joshua and Fury are in talks to decide an undisputed heavyweight champion. But with no confirmation yet, Usyk has delivered a reminder of his status as WBO's mandatory challenger. OMG. Just when we thought it was safe to go outside, just when we thought everything had been settled, Oleksandr Usyk appears to be throwing a wrench in the works, potentially. OMG. Okay, so Oleksandr Usyk intends to come between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Reads the caption to that picture. Damn. Okay, so if AJ and Fury is not likely to happen this year or is rescheduled until the end of the year, AJ has to make a mandatory defense against Usyk unless he relinquishes the title, his promoter Krasuk told Sky Sports. So let's get this right. If AJ versus Fury is not likely to happen this year or is rescheduled until the end of the year, AJ has to make a mandatory defense against Usyk. Okay, yeah, I get that. That's my understanding. Okay, yeah. The WBO has to gather strength to make the courageous decision to order AJ versus Usyk, says Krasuk, his promoter Krasuk. Okay, and that, if they do that, that will be a triumph of justice, my friends. Oh dear. Okay. Otherwise, boxing will accelerate its decline in popularity due to unfair and preconceived politics. Really? Really. Otherwise, boxing will accelerate. Listen, I think the better fight, the bigger fight, the most in-demand fight is the Joshua versus Fury, where I'm going to let Iron Kong come in a second. Don't worry. But I just had to, I was going to save my full analysis till later, but I have to come in on that point. This is the fight, Joshua versus Fury. That's the fight. What have you done at heavyweight, Usyk? Damn, I'm giving away my hand. Okay, there's Joe Joyce. I don't think I'm going to read all of this in one go. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty self-explanatory what's going on. Joe Joyce there. Joe Joyce taking pleasure in knocking fools silly. Joe Joyce has got a bit of spite to him that people don't seem to realize or appreciate. But he does have a bit of spice to him. What's this here? Damn, this is the whole enchilada.
He stopped his opponent in the semi-final.
Who's that? That's Joshua's cousin. That's Joyce versus Joshua's cousin.
I watched him yesterday and
I don't know what's the pertinence of that. Joyce had a toe-to-toe war in the ABA Super Heavyweight Finals with Big Fraser. That's Joshua's cousin, is it not? Okay, there's too much of this to just go all the way through. So many elements, but we get the gist of it. Usyk is the mandatory. And he's not happy. The WBO told him that they were putting Joshua versus Tyson Fury first, and he is not a happy bunny. Iron Kong, what are your initial thoughts and observations to this shiznix?
What he really wants is a percentage from the Joshua fight. That's what they really want, right? Sorry, not Joshua. My guy Oluwafemi You know what I'm saying? That's what they really want. But don't worry, Usyk, you'll get ironed out just now by Femi after he mops up the gypsy. Okay? So all I'm saying is Krasuk or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Krasuk just wants his piece of the pie. Ain't nothing about no desperate and no justice and all of that. It's all about, look here, man. I need to get this Femi payday quick and fast in a hurry. There's nothing about it. It's the WBO's crazy ruling about if you move over the champion, you get mandatory. That's cool. But let's face it. Let's be honest here. If Usyk doesn't get his shot, it's not going to exactly shake up the boxing world.
No.
If Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury is not made, that will shake up the boxing world. And people will be very disappointed with that.
Yes.
So Usyk, really and truly, I mean, if you don't get to fight Femi, then you don't get to fight Femi. Nobody gonna exactly cry no tears, no big tears. Right? Just relax. Fight Joyce for your interim belt.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems to me like Usyk is holding out. He's holding out. And it's partially understandable, but listen, the bigger fight is the unification fight. I mean, I'm gonna have to go into the chat in a second as we dissect this multifaceted article. I'm gonna have to go in the chat in a second and see what they're saying, because to my, it seems blatantly clear what the people want. Usyk ain't done diddly in the heavyweight division, and people want to see the WBC champ versus the unified champ. Surely to goodness. But let me go into the chat and see what people are saying. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Sorry, Pigeon, I tried, bro. Let's have a look. Usyk versus Joyce is contingent on AJ versus Fury as official announcement. Yeah. And it seems like Usyk just ain't signing for Joyce. He's waiting. It seems clearly implied in the article that Usyk is waiting for the official signing. He's waiting for Joshua versus Fury to be officially signed. That seems to be the game plan, Lisa. And in the meantime, he ain't signing for nothing. Can you blame him?
But Raphael, I'm not mad at Usyk for that, bro. Like, he said that, look, why would I sign to fight for an interim belt when the belt that I'm supposed to be fighting for isn't even locked up yet? I think Joshua and Fury need to handle their business, hurry up, and announce the fight. You know what I'm saying? The quicker they announce their fight, go ahead.
James Jameson says, after Fury 2? Well, no, because we don't know when Joshua Fury 1's going to be. I doubt that Joshua Fury 1 and Joshua Fury 2 is going to be in the same year. I'm beginning to doubt it because Fury seems to be dragging his feet, and I'm wondering if Fury is going to want or insist on a warm-up fight. You see, if things go smooth, then Joshua v. Fury will happen in June, July of this year. And then, at the end of the year, cool. Will Fury agree to that? Yeah, Joshua will. That's the schedule he had for Ruiz. He lost the first one, came back 6 months later, had the second one. So we know that Joshua will fight, no problem, 2 times at the top caliber. Joshua will fight 2 times at the top caliber in 6 months. He'll do it. But will Tyson Fury? So that's where the question mark comes in. Joshua will fight 2 times in 6 months. He'll do that. But will Tyson Fury do that at the highest level? That's the question mark. That is the question mark. Iron Kong.
I'm quite sure Tyson Fury will go somewhere into Bratislava and find some bus driver to fight for a tune-up, right? So I think the fight needs to be signed. I know Joshua's ready to go. He don't have no problems. He fought in December. He ready to go. All we hear is Tyson Fury quacking about how, I need a tune-up. I'm inactive. I need to go to Azerbaijan and find some ferryman to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Needs to find a
Listen,
shepherd. Needs to find a shepherd in Azerbaijan.
that's right. So I know Joshua ready to go. I don't know about Tyson Fury.
Yeah. Is Tyson Fury ready to go? That's the question. That is the question. What's the holdup?
Raphael, I'll be right back.
Yeah, man.
2 minutes,
Yeah,
okay?
man.
2 minutes.
Yeah, man. Cool. That's what's the holdup? What's the holdup? In this undisputed over mandatory rules. Yes, undisputed comes fast. Undisputed comes first. Undisputed takes precedent. I don't understand what Team Usyk. I don't understand what Team Usyk don't understand. It seems crazy to me. And in comes. Well, actually, I'll let him introduce himself.
Fight Doctors in the house on Rick James status as always. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening to you. Iron Kong's away from the mic for a couple minutes. Yes, but it is none other than the Fight Doctor. So Fight Doctor, your thoughts, your views. I don't know if you've been listening to the show, but Usyk there's murmurings. There's murmurings from Team Usyk. Remember, hold on. Control your mic, my friend. All I'm hearing is knocking. So all I'm hearing from Team Usyk, remember, the first murmurings from Team Usyk was after the Chisora fight, and they was talking about something about the gloves, something about this, something about that. And now that's the last thing we heard from Team Usyk. And now we're hearing that Team Usyk are not happy. They're not signing with Joyce. They're holding out. They're holding out to see till Joshua and Fury sign, and they want to see what date it is. So Team Usyk are in no rush to get in there with Joyce. Remember, the benefit of getting in there with Joyce is that the winner becomes the interim champion. Let's not forget. Let's not get it twisted. Check the ballistics. So yeah, chew on that. The Fight Doctor.
So here's what I want to hear, right? I want to hear everyone who is in favor of the whole ideology behind Undisputed and all that, right? Everyone who endorses the Undisputed title, whatever that is. I want to hear what those same people think now that we have the situation with Usyk, right? I want to hear them demand that Anthony Joshua fight Usyk. I mean, he needs to maintain his undisputed title, right? I mean, that's the only title that means anything, right? So if that's the case, if undisputed is what is the end-all be-all in boxing, holding those 4 belts, then everyone in the undisputed title crowd should demand that Anthony Joshua fight Oleksandr Usyk. That should be all that they're talking about right now.
That don't make no sense.
Of course it makes sense.
No,
it makes sense.
What you said just don't make no sense. I'm going to explain to you why. It don't make no sense. You just said that if for the people who hold high and hold dear, undisputed, they should be rooting for Anthony Joshua to fight Usyk next. That's what you just said. Now, you're wrong because Tyson Fury is the one with the 4th belt, the one with the outstanding belt. So everyone who is rooting for Undisputed should be rightly rooting for Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury.
That's assuming that Tyson Fury is going to be available to fight Anthony Joshua next. And apparently it's becoming more and more obvious that is not the case.
Excuse me, could you kindly elaborate?
Well, have they announced the fight? I mean, up until this point, there's been a whole lot of talk, but there's no venue, there's no date, there's no nothing.
There was
If
no
you don't have
venue and no date. There was no venue and no date for what is it? Wilder v Fury. Was it 1 or 2? There was no venue or date until pretty damn near close to the event, in either 1 or 2. That didn't stop the damn fight from happening. So long as both parties have made their intentions clear, which they have, and so long as the contracts have been agreed upon, which they now have, the only next step is finding the venue. I think that's the next holdup, the venue. But in principle, everything appears to have been agreed. So now they're looking for the venue. That is the next thing. Of course, this thing is a damn process. It's not going to come together. What, you're just gonna click your heels 3 times and then boom, the event's done? It don't work like that. It takes time.
Time is a luxury that they currently don't have. Well, time is a luxury that they currently don't have. They want the fight to happen in July, right?
Yeah, June or July.
So what is this? This is March. This is the middle of March.
Yeah.
You need 8 weeks to train.
Yeah.
So April, May.
8 to 12.
So April, May.
June. They're already in training.
So they're getting close.
They've been in training. They're already in training. They ain't training right now.
They're back, Raphael.
Yes, Kong. They're in training for this shiznix to go down.
But have contracts been signed?
You know what the problem is? Do you know what I think the true problem is, the fight doctor? Do you know what I think the truth is? I think the truth is, I think you know what the truth is. I know what the truth is. We know what the truth is. And I think the truth is that there's some Americans over there in America who really are still feeling. They're still in shock. They're still in post-traumatic stress disorder. They're still having PTSD over Tyson Fury's whooping of Deontay Wilder, and they so desperate. I'm not saying they're wrong, and they so desperately want to see. They want their guy Deontay Wilder to get another bite of the cherry, and they're hoping, wishing, praying that something comes in the way in between Joshua and Fury. And I'm not even saying you guys are wrong to feel that way. I'm just saying I wish you just come out and say, well, listen, Rafi, we desperately want our guy, Deontay Wilder, to get his third shot at Tyson Fury. And that's
okay. That's all.
That's the root of all of this. That's the root of all of this. That's my suspicion.
That's all fine and dandy, but you're dealing with speculation and allegation. I just want to deal with the facts. So let's just talk about the facts. And the facts are this.
You're trying to sidestep the question. Is that correct?
You didn't ask a question.
Oh, well, I gave you my thoughts and views on the matter. It was a hypothesis. You don't want to say yay or nay. You don't want to refute it. You just want to leave it there. There's
nothing to refute. Again, that's all speculation and allegation. I only want to talk about the facts.
Let me ask you this point blank then. If it is the case, is it the case that you guys, many of you guys, is it the case that as I said, you want your guy Deontay to get his third bite of the cherry? You just want him to get another chance at Fury, and so you're hoping, wishing, praying, lighting candles in the middle of the night in the hope that your guy, Deontay Wilder, will get his next shot ahead of Anthony Joshua. Is that really something that is at the forefront of your hoping that something comes in the way of Joshua versus Fury?
Well, I can't speak for everyone on this side of the pond. I can only speak for myself. And me personally, I pretty much don't care to see Fury Joshua 3. Fury Wilder 3. I mean, that question has been answered emphatically.
Hmm.
So, from my point of view,
what question has been answered emphatically?
Who the better fighter is?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that question has been answered. So I don't need to see a third fight. I mean, for what? I mean, I'm not a glutton for punishment, and that's just basically what the third fight is going to be, more of the same. So the heavyweight division, in my view, needs to progress. It needs to move forward, and there needs to be some clarity as to who is the number one heavyweight in the world. And the only way that question can be answered is for Joshua and Fury to meet. So that's the fight that I want to see. The question is, why has this fight not been signed? Again, I want to deal with the facts, and the facts are until we get an announcement, until we have a date, until we have a venue, until we have until we have ink to paper, we have no fight. And again, for the people who are in the sanctimonious, in undisputed camp, those people, they need to demand that Joshua meet his mandatory. If the Tyson Fury fight doesn't happen next, then that's the fight that they should demand. And again, this underscores, in my mind, the ridiculousness of the whole idea. What in the hell has Usyk ever done to demand a shot at Anthony Joshua? I mean, think about it. What has he done? He beat an old Derek Chisora, and the other guy he beat, Chad Witherspoon. So he basically, I mean, I've never seen a guy get so much from having done so little. Knocking over 2 tomato cans guarantees you a shot at the heavyweight title. A paper title, but a heavyweight title nonetheless. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Listen, Usyk potentially could deny us an undisputed title fight.
Yep.
Now think about that for a second. Usyk, listen, if the fight doesn't happen in June, right, and Usyk intends to press his mandatory stipulation, right, and the WBO is forced to strip Joshua if Joshua doesn't fight Usyk, then we are denied an undisputed title fight. Now think about that.
Okay.
And in my mind, that's completely ridiculous.
Okay, so you're advocating that that Fury Joshua should be next. That's a question. Right, Dr. Muted himself.
Sorry, I'm having problems with the mic. Yeah, there's no question. That is the only look. That's the only fight that matters in the heavyweight division right now. No other fight matters. Joshua Fury, the fight has to happen before one of them loses.
The Joshua Fury, the fight has to happen. Iron Kong.
Just a correction, fight doctor. The 2 fights didn't earn him the shot. Simply moving up earned him the shot. So that's the WBO's. I don't know if other sanctioning bodies have that wrinkle in their bylaws, but for the WBO, if you're the champ at the lower weight and you move up, you are automatically mandatory for the champ at the higher weight. It's like, and if you want to activate it, you become the automatic mandatory. Like Jaime Munguia is supposed to be Demetrius Andrade's mandatory, not Liam Williams, but he didn't activate it. So simply moving up. It wasn't even the Witherspoon and Chisora wins. And I guess it wouldn't be so much of an issue if there wasn't this much of a big stake, in the game. Like if Usyk had moved up and Joshua and Fury wasn't on the horizon, right? It wouldn't be so much of an issue. But as fight doctors say, bro, this man could really prevent us from having an undisputed championship fight. And I do wonder when exactly these guys are gonna sign this fight. Because if I was Usyk, to be honest, I would not sign to fight Joe Joyce until these guys sign their fight. So yeah, I mean, I mightn't like it, but I would do the same thing, bro. Like until you sign for this, unless I know that fight is gonna happen, I'm not signing to fight Joe Joyce. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. What Joe Joyce is doing might be inconvenient, but Wilder's out the picture. Let's move on. He certainly appears to be out of the picture. Even BG London, a big Wilder fan, appears to be saying that. Wilder needs to move on. People are saying Wilder needs to move on. Wilder needs to move on.
Were y'all talking about Wilder? Who was talking about Wilder?
No, they're saying that Wilder needs to move on. Not we, they. Wilder needs to move on. Wilder needs to move on to new pastures. He needs to move on. But long story short, Usyk has a point. Usyk's not signing to fight Joyce because he wants to wait and see. Clearly, he wants to wait and see if Fury v. Joshua gets made next. And if not, then he wants his shot next. And I think that's fair. That's fairly logical. That's fairly logical and fairly reasonable. So he's sticking around. I just want him to, we need the contracts. We need the contracts to be signed so that, we can just get Usyk and Joyce. They do their thing. And we can get this whole damn show on the road. Before we move on, have you got anything to add? The Fight Doctor, anything to add to that?
So here's the question I want to ask. I want to pose to the whole sanctimonious undisputed crowd, right? If the undisputed crown
what does that mean? What does that mean? Sanctimonious undisputed crowd. What's that?
The people who hold the concept of undisputed as being something akin to being holy, essentially, right? The people who believe and worship the idea of the undisputed championship.
All right, let's go.
My question to those people are: if you're going to defend the sanctimoniousness of the undisputed crown, will you also defend the worthiness of Usyk as a challenger to the undisputed crown?
Will I defend Usyk's right to challenge for the crown? Is that what you're asking?
No, not his right to challenge, but will you defend him? Will you defend his worthiness as a challenger?
I will not defend his worthiness as a challenger over undisputed. No, I will defend his right under the WBO laws to challenge for to be. I defend his right to be ranked in the top 10 immediately after being champion on unified champion in the previous division, in the light division. So I defend his right to be put in the top 10. I do not defend his right to become immediate mandatory. That's unfortunate. I suppose I do defend it, but I don't particularly love it. So I guess I defend it without loving it. I guess I'm defending something I don't particularly love. And I'm not totally defending it because I think somebody should be put in the top 10. He should earn a top 10 position, yes. But to earn a mandatory position, I struggle with that just a tad, but undisputed is legacy. What's another mandatory worth? Exacte mundo. I struggle with him being made mandatory top 10. Yeah, but mandatory. Yeah, I'm not too cool with that. But hey, that's their law. That's their law. And shout out to James Jameson for the super chat, keeping the train on the tracks. Undisputed is legacy. What's another mandatory worth? Usyk didn't write the rules. He didn't write the rules. He's in that position now, and I guess even though we don't like it, he has a point. He has a point. He doesn't want to sign. He doesn't want to sign and then not, and then be put in a bad position whereby Joshua and Fury don't fight immediately. He's got to keep himself free. He might as well just come out and say, hey, I ain't signing until Joshua and Fury sign. And until they've signed, I am next in line. He's kind of beating his head against a brick wall in a sense because the WBO have relented. They were quite staunch at one point, but now they have relented and they said, okay, you go ahead. We'll let Usyk can wait. Usyk can fight Joyce for the interim championship. And I think that's fine. Let Usyk fight Joyce for the interim championship and let the main thing go ahead. Back to you, Fight Doctor. Fight Doctor is muted. Okay.
Sorry about that. So no, I look. I just think it underscores how ridiculous the whole idea is. I think it's just ridiculous how much power and how much credibility we give to these sanctioning mobs. The fact that this man could be the mandatory for the WBO title, having done nothing at heavyweight, and potentially disrupt a quote-unquote undisputed title fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Listen, it's not so much that he can disrupt it. It's just a simple fact that he is a mandatory for the title, for the WBO title, and his mandatory status is having an influence on the fight. Maybe subtle as it is, maybe not so subtle. But the simple fact that this man comes up from the garbage pail known as the cruiserweight division, all right, knocks over a couple of tomato cans at heavyweight, and all of a sudden he has a say in the fight between the legitimate top two heavyweights in the world, is in itself ridiculous, right? And anyone who prays to the undisputed gods should take a long, hard look at this situation and reconsider their religion. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I don't even see how that goes against undisputed because we're working towards undisputed. People who want undisputed are working towards it. They don't want to see. They're not bothered about Usyk versus Joshua next. They'll get that later. Iron Kong, is there anything you want to add before we move to the next topic, my dear fellow?
Yeah, Femi by 7-round stoppage.
Femi by 7-round stoppage of who? Usyk or Fury?
Fury.
Okay. Iron Kong, what is your prediction for Joshua v. Fury? I mean,
yeah.
Fight Doctor. Fight Doctor's soaking them mushrooms. He can't even stay focused. What the hell's going on?
My bad. I'm over here chopping up dinner.
Okay. That's the problem. That's the problem with veganism. You're chopping up. It takes you longer to prepare the food. You know. Well, anyway, not really. Okay, carry on.
So my prediction for Fury versus Joshua. Honestly, I'm thinking. If you would have asked me this question 6 months ago, I would lean towards Fury, but now I'm leaning towards Joshua. I'm thinking Joshua by decision.
Why?
So it seems to me that there are certain intangibles, right, in the fight game. So, and you go back and look at Roberto Duran, who has arguably one of the best victories in the history of the sport when he beat in prime Sugar Ray Leonard at 147 pounds, moving up from lightweight. That was a tremendous victory, right? The consequences of which can't be overstated. But then what happens next, right? Roberto Duran, he goes on a binge, partying, blows up in weight. Sugar Ray Leonard, meanwhile, stays focused. And we all saw what happened in the rematch. So you have to ask the question. I mean, who is the one who's staying focused? Who's in the gym, right? Who hasn't blown up in weight? Who's keeping his nose clean, right? The intangibles. So never mind how skillful Tyson Fury might be. Tyson Fury, in all likelihood, is the more skilled fighter. But there's some things that go beyond just having a particular skill set.
Interesting.
You know, who is the more dedicated fighter? Listen, Bernard Hopkins, right, wasn't the most gifted athlete. He wasn't. But what he was the most disciplined athlete. And that discipline took him a long, long way. And when I look at Tyson Fury, I see someone who is just undisciplined. And when I look at Anthony Joshua, I look at somebody who has limitations, but discipline isn't one of them, right? So as time goes on, as time progresses, the longer it takes to make this fight, the more it favors Anthony Joshua. So right now I'm leaning towards Anthony Joshua by decision.
This is very interesting. Most of our American friends, they have Tyson Fury winning. But the fight doctor has changed his pick over the last month or two. He's now leaning towards the Anthony Joshua. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. I don't know if you want to come back with anything, the Iron Kong.
No.
Okay. We're good. We are good to move on. Let's have a look what we got on the screen there. Boom, boom, boom. And we'll be moving on in a couple seconds. Vegans need 15 meals a day. Iron Kong. The fight doctor. Is it true that vegans eat like a pandas? Still soaking the mushroom.
Well,
Is it true that vegans eat like pandas?
Well, I don't know about all that. I mean, so it depends on what kind of. So there's different kind of vegans, right? And believe it or not, you can be vegan and have a very unhealthy diet.
I believe it.
Oh, I agree with that 110%. I mean, I know some fat vegans, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it just, I mean, that question is loaded. You know, it covers too much territory. So it just depends.
Covers way too much territory.
I mean, you can eat cauliflower, but if you deep fry the cauliflower, it's still deep fried cauliflower.
Yeah, I mean, listen, French fries and beer are both vegan.
Yeah.
But if you load up on French fries and beer every day, well, guess what's gonna happen?
That's right.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. Bad. So let's us move along. Duran is one of the best to ever do it. Probably the best lightweight ever. Willie Pep #1. Then up the weights, one of a kind. Let's have a look. Fury moves fast for a man that's 6'9", 5'9", 6'9", tall, and got awkward movements that even got Klitschko trying. Klitschko was limited though in some respects. Klitschko was not. Klitschko was very robotic in a manner. He had that robotic 1-2, that left, right. Very predictable. That's why Tyson Fury was able to do what he did. What he did was very clever. He just messed him about. Didn't try to go for any big shots. Just messed him about all night long. I haven't said that for a while, have I? I haven't done that for a while. It's one of my little jingles. Jay Blues up in the building. Good to have you, my friend. Good to have you up in here. The link is in the chat if you want to jump on. Let's have a look. I'm scrolling through chat. B-Hop took the easy way out of a fight first chance he got. Very disciplined at being a floppy fish. OMG. What's the fight doctor got to say to that? I know he's stirring up his mushrooms as we speak. Oh, he's here. Quick response time.
Easy to respond. Ridiculous. Simple fact of the matter is, Bernard Hopkins at 40 years old went up not one but two weight classes from 160 to 175 and fought the guy who just one punch knocked out the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. Who does that? Who does that at 40 years old? Who does that? So anybody who makes any kind of excuses or has any type of unjustified criticism of Bernard Hopkins, like the one we just heard, ridiculous. Nobody at 40 years old, moves up 2 weight classes to fight the guy who just knocked out the number 1 pound for pound, one punch knocked out the number 1 pound for pound guy in the sport of boxing. Nobody does that. Nobody. Not even when Sugar Ray Robinson moved up to fight Joey Maxim. Maxim was not the best fighter in the world, nowhere near.
Hater alert, John T. Harrison McKenthenelli. John T. Harrison McKenthenelli says Lisa Bales, the best heavyweight, don't quit versus Ruiz. Who was the best heavyweight to fight Ruiz? John T. Harrison McKenthenelli. Who is the best heavyweight to fight Ruiz? John T. Harrison McKenthenelli. Okay, so get back to me on that one and we can continue the dialogue. What do we have here? What do we have here? Whenever you get to is what? What? Wherever you started. Whenever you get to is better. Wherever you get to is better than where you started. To stay on the road is a massive achievement. Anthony Joshua. Okay. Eating while on the show. I think he's cooking. What we got here? Sea Lion says fat vegans. They're about. They're not. They're about. They're plentiful. They are plentiful. Okay. So let's have a look. He didn't quit, John T. The referee stopped it. Big difference. Okay. Let's have a look. Oh. Traditional beer uses honey. That is not vegan by most standards. I don't know. Are there anybody still using honey making beer? The Bronze Plumber. Okay. Let's have a look. Lionel Richie. All night long. Yeah. Okay. Getting your Lionel Richie on. I don't know. He's struggling, boxing the same as boxing lobsters. Is it the same guy? Very similar responses. John T. Harrison McKenthenelli. He didn't quit. That's my opinion. John T. Harrison McKenthenelli says he did quit. McKenthenelli. Let me just call you John T. John T. Who's the best fighter? Who's the best boxer that Andy Ruiz has fought? Who's the best boxer that Andy Ruiz has fought? Okay. Come on, man. B-Hop pulled a couple of strokes in his time. That injury versus Dawson was suspect, says Tone. The Fight Doctor, you want to come back on that? No, I am not.
So, I saw the Dawson fight. I saw it. I watched it the night it aired. And I give that injury 50-50.
50-50.
But at the same time, Bernard Hopkins was like 42 years old. Okay, so I don't understand.
Yeah.
And he was already a legend. Okay, and look, above and beyond that, right? Bernard Hopkins in his 40s. All right, in his 40s, and divorced 2 weight classes from his best weight class. Fought and in his prime Sergey Kovalev. Fought and in his prime. Who's the guy he got the shoulder injury against? Chad Dawson.
Yeah.
Fought in his prime. Who's the French guy, light heavyweight? What's his name? Pascal.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Fought in his prime Antonio Tarver. So what the hell are you talking about?
He was a hell of an achiever. I think he was Bernard Hopkins. I think he's up there. He's up there for the duration of his career. Who he was fighting to the end of his career. I think personally, let me pull up his shizniks. Let me pull up his shizniks and put it up on the screen. Okay. Let's do this, and let's do this. Poor Manny Pacquiao's waiting there in the wings for his chance. But first things first, let's have a look. Let's see if you can see what I can see. Yes. Okay, 55 Bernard Hopkins, 55 wins, 32 by KOs, 8 losses, one KO. Only got knocked out once. What are we looking at here? Sergey Kovalev, Bibut Shimonov. Okay, Karo Murat. Okay, put some average guys. Cloud, Chad Dawson lost. Okay. Majority decision. Chad Dawson again, no contest. Jean Pascal won. Unanimous decision. Jean Pascal drew 12 round. Roy Jones beat him over 12 round. Kelly Pavlik, unanimous decision. Joe Calzaghe lost. What's that? Split decision. Split decision lost to Joe Calzaghe. Ronald Wright won over 12 rounds. Antonio Tava won by a unanimous decision. Jermaine Taylor lost unanimous decision. Jermaine Taylor lost split decision. Howard Eastman. Oscar De La Hoya beat Oscar De La Hoya via KO. Okay, it's hard to ish on that career. Salute goes out to Bernard Hopkins, the executioner. Okay, and with that, I think we're gonna take a few more comments, and then eventually we're gonna move on. Surely to goodness. Where are we here? Hopkins is a legend, though. Yes, absolutely. What is this? B-Hop 360 plus championship rounds. Only Abe Ackwell and Sam Lackford have more. Is that a fact? That's interesting. Let's have some parliamentary procedure indeed. A loss is a loss. He lost to Kovalev. He did lose to Kovalev, but how old was he when he lost to Kovalev? Come on now, let's have some parliamentary procedure. Okay, so. Okay. So let's stop sharing that, and let's get back to. Let's give Manny some airtime. Let's go, Manny Pacquiao. Am I sharing? Boom. Yes, I am. Yes, I can. Okay, so I'm leaning towards Mikey Garcia. Crawford is not ruled out, says Manny Pacquiao, the Senator Pacquiao. Okay, so 8 Division World Champion Manny Pacquiao is looking to return on a date in May. Pacquiao is 42, has been out of the ring since July 2019. That's what's that, 2019, 2020, 2021. May, April, May, June, July. Okay, so he's just about 18 months, something like 18 months. 19 months out of the ring. The Filipino superstar return has been delayed by the coronavirus. Nearly 2 years of inactivity cost him his world title. Yes, we know that. He's talking about fighting Conor McGregor until Conor McGregor got his ass kicked or his calf kicked and got stopped, knocked out. by Dustin Poirier. We're leaning towards Mikey Garcia, but we're also talking to Crawford. Pacquiao told Dylan Castillo of ADSCBN, one of the sister companies of Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. It depends on who I get to face. That's what's important is I'm ready. We never get complacent. Bloody, 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 blah. Okay. So that's the news. Without longing it out. Pacquiao, I'm leaning to Mikey Garcia. Iron Kong. Pacquiao is leaning towards Mikey Garcia. Why the hell won't they lean towards Crawford? What the hell is going on?
Well, if you believe Mikey Garcia, this fight was signed or agreed to even before the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. So we know at the very least they were already in some kind of discussions to do the fight. But I didn't for one instance think Pacquiao would fight Terence Crawford. Pacquiao is going to look for the easiest plate of food to eat, and that's Mikey Garcia. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao in his 40s does not want to get absolutely smoothed out by Terence Crawford. All like no, so he gonna go collect as much money as he can collect, and just deal with little Mikey. Mikey Garcia is not a welterweight. Mikey Garcia is just a fat dude at 147. That's all it is. So it's the easiest plate of food for the most money. That's what it is.
The fight doctor. Uh-oh.
So I want to make a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Crawford Pacquiao will never happen.
Crawford Pacquiao will never happen.
Never.
Crawford Pacquiao will never happen.
I agree with that.
Unfortunately, I have to agree. Pacquiao don't want that Crawford work. He's got something in common with Spence. He don't want it with Crawford, the fight doctor.
I think he'll fight Spence before he fights Crawford.
No, I'm saying both of them, both Spence and Pacquiao, don't want nothing with Crawford.
Well, I don't necessarily buy into the idea that Errol Spence doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford. I think that has more to do with politics than anything.
What's the holdup?
Politics. Bob Arum is the holdup. That's the problem. Bob Arum.
Bob Arum?
Bob Arum.
Making offers. The man has been making the offers to fight Spence. He's the problem.
So you have in Bob Arum. Bob Arum is supposed to be Terence Crawford's promoter, right?
Yeah.
Now here it is. You're Terence Crawford, and your promoter is going on record saying he's losing money on your fights. That's your promoter.
Yeah. So what?
Okay.
So what? He's the one who's trying.
What do you mean? So what? That's very significant when your promoter. Listen, your promoter is the guy. What is a promoter's job? Right? Bob Arum's job is to sell a product. The product is the fighter he has under contract. Mm-hmm. So it's Bob Arum's job to sell his product. All right, to glorify it, to gloss it over, to make it look pretty, to dress it up, to put lipstick on it. Whatever the hell you have to do to sell this product, that's what you're supposed to do as Terence Crawford's promoter. But what does Bob Arum do? He sullies his own product. He muddies it.
Yeah, but he's the one trying to make the fight. He's the one trying to make the fight. Al Heyman ain't trying to make no fight.
Listen, my question is this. How are you trying to make a fight for Terence Crawford when you drag the man's name through the mud? How does that work exactly?
Yeah, but he's the one willing to make the fight. Al Heyman ain't willing to make the fight.
If Bob Arum were in a hurry to make a fight for Terence Crawford, it seems to me that instead of dragging his name through the mud, look, you don't see Al Heyman dragging his fighters' names through the mud. You don't see that, right? You don't see Al Heyman fighters abandoning their ship.
You also don't see Al Heyman fighters making unifications with fighters who are outside of the pay-based site.
Well, you see Al Heyman fighters on pay-per-view. When is the last time we saw Terence Crawford on pay-per-view?
Well, Al Hammond came in saying he wasn't going to do pay-per-view.
Yeah, context is important here. And we were talking about Terrence Crawford vis-a-vis Errol Spence. And the last time we saw Errol Spence, we saw him on pay-per-view. When is the last time we saw Terrence Crawford on pay-per-view? Right? So I think all this talk about...
You want to see Spence on pay-per-view.
Well, a lot of people do. That's the reason why he fights on pay-per-view, right? My question...
These PBC cards, what?
Listen, man, you got to stop. Listen, wait, hold on. Stop. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute.
Ridiculous. Look at Ruiz. Look at Ruiz versus Ariola. How the hell is that a pay-per-view?
What does Ruiz Ariola have to do with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence?
Talking
right?
about pay-per-views, you started saying that we want to see guys on pay-per-view. People don't want to see people on pay-per-view. Well, they don't want to have to be shelling out what, $70, $80, $100 over there on pay-per-view.
Well, all right, so again, you're dealing in allegations and speculations. I just want to deal with the facts. And the facts are, last time we saw Errol Spence, we saw him on a pay-per-view. Is that not right?
Last time we saw Errol Spence, he was on pay-per-view. That is correct.
Okay, so if Errol Spence is being marketed to the pay-per-view crowd, apparently there is a market because people are paying. Listen, it's a free market economy, right? So if there is no market for Errol Spence to be on pay-per-view, guess what? We would not see Errol Spence on pay-per-view. Kind of like how we don't see Terrence Crawford on pay-per-view.
Kind of like how we saw Wilder on pay-per-view making a damn loss.
Listen, these strawman arguments.
How's that good for the sport?
Right. So these strawman arguments, they don't. Yeah, we're not going to be distracted, right? So we're talking about Errol Spence.
What's strawman about it? What's strawman about it? Come on now. Stay with me.
Okay, well, I'm trying to stay with you, but let's stay on topic. And the topic of discussion is Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford and why the fight hasn't happened. And I suspect it has more to do with Bob Arum than it does to do with Team Errol Spence.
What's the last good PBC show?
What does that have to do with the facts? Okay,
you talk about pay-per-view, and I'm talking about how is that good for the consumer. So I'm asking you the question: what's the last good PBC show? Again,
you want to deal with speculation and allegation. I want to deal with the facts.
Well, just say you don't want to answer it, then, bro. Just say you don't want to answer it. That's cool.
Listen, what you consider good. Listen, what man considers good, another man might not consider to be good.
Hey,
that's all speculation and allegation. I want to deal with the facts. So let's deal with the facts, okay?
Hey, it's cool, man. Hey, Lisa. Hey, let's hear it. Let's hear it for the lady. Let's hear it for the lady. It is not. No, let me give you a proper introduction, Lisa, because Lisa, you deserve a proper introduction. Let me introduce to you. Allow me to introduce to you none other than the Lisa Bayless. Lisa Bayless. I hope you're the calm in the storm. Lisa.
Yeah, I'm always calm.
Calm. Yes. Lisa's bringing the calmness. You don't see it. Yeah, Lisa, how are you? Talk to us. Talk to the people.
Hey, I'm kind of in agreement with Fight Doctor, and the reason why is because I'm gonna say why.
Yeah.
Is because Bob Arum, look at what he's doing to his fighters and the things he's saying about them. And look at his track record. And also I think that he should have did everything in his power to try to get that fight with Errol Spence. Yeah. Even if he had to cough up more money, you know what I'm saying, for Terrence Crawford. Now the reality is that I don't think this fight is going to happen until venues are fully open, but I do know that Texas is wide open right now. So unless Terrence Crawford is willing to go to Texas, because Texas is open right now, they're not even wearing masks from what I'm understanding.
Yeah, I heard that.
So basically, yeah, but you got to look at Bob Arum's track record, because Heyman doesn't really talk. So I'm
Mm.
looking at Bob Arum's track record.
Mm.
He's very nasty. He puts down his fighters,
Yeah.
and you know, he can that fight can happen, but maybe he gotta be able to make sure his fighter is well compensated. But
Mm.
is he willing to do that? I don't know.
Mm. Mm.
Because it's gonna be a fight that's gonna make money. It's gonna do well because this is a fight that the people want.
Yes. 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 I agree. Iron Kong.
I mean, look at what he said about Rigo. Look at I can't promote him. I can't. I can't do this. I can't do that. Look at the Tio thing. Look at Floyd. You know, this man is negative.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
He does now. What I will say is he has had a lot of unification fights and undisputed.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
will say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just gotta call a spade a spade. The man is old and ornery and cantankerous, and he's just he just say whatever he wants to.
Says whatever he wants to. He's at that age now. He's at that age now.
Yeah.
Where
it's like the people in the nursing homes, they curse you out. Old people,
Yeah, he's on that. He's on that tip. Okay. So that's
and look and think about it. Look what he said they sent Eddie Hearn that he was mad when he bid on that Tio fight.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
he trying to intimidate people, like putting gangster bully tactics out there.
Some strong arm.
Yeah.
Strong arm business. Iron Kong, some strong arm business.
I mean, Bob Arum is all that. I did an entire stream on Bob Arum trying to rig a bid, but I have seen Errol Spence give some very negative vibes when it comes to Terrence Crawford fight. I have seen Terrence Crawford walk up on Errol Spence, and Errol Spence said, "Well, why wouldn't I take the easy road over here? You know what I'm saying?" And then, when his last fought, I did see Terrence Crawford go to the fight, and they asked Spence about it. Spence was like, "I don't know what he's doing here, and I'm gonna go home to my ranch or some foolishness." So, it's whatever, man.
Play with his horses.
Yeah, he want to play with his horse and the cows. You know what I'm saying?
He don't want that fight.
Yeah, I got you, John.
Yeah, so I mean, Bob Arum could be all of that, and I agree, he is all of that. But he did help make Wilder versus Fury. So if he can do that, he can do this. So I don't want to hear all that about it's Bob Arum's fault. Bob Arum will do business when it's time to do business. And this is good business. And if Bob Arum not sending the offers, where is the offer from the A side PBC? And I do say, while neither of these guys are no big pay-per-view draw like that, in my opinion,
I don't think no offers was ever sent.
Right. Well, what I'm saying to you is people keep saying, well, why ain't Bob Arum sending the offers? It's weird, right? That we used to hear all the time that the A side sends the offers. Now all of a sudden, Errol Spence says he's the A side, but we never heard Errol Spence, the PBC, send no offers to Terrence Crawford to fight. We've heard Errol Spence say 60-40. We've heard Errol Spence say 70-30 or whatever we decide to give him, and all that foolishness. But no official offers has been sent to Terrence Crawford as the B side. So all of this needs to happen. The fight needs to happen. I'm not really gonna go back and forth on it, but that's just my observations on it. It's whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? But Bob Arum is all that though.
Right.
Yes. The fight doctor, you gone quiet, my friend.
Yeah.
Worries me when you go quiet. Worries me when you go quiet.
So look, at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, one guy has a history of having what appears to be good relations with his fighters and having made them lots of money. And then you have another guy who has Teofimo Lopez is literally the golden goose. And what happens? What does Bob Arum do? Right? What does Bob Arum do? Teofimo Lopez.
Choke the goose by the neck.
Teofimo Lopez is potentially the future of boxing. He's got the look. He's got the skill. He's got He's got the fan base. He's got all the ingredients.
Got the mouthpiece.
He's got the mouthpiece. Okay? Can talk ish with the best of them. And what does Bob Arum do? What does Bob Arum do? Okay? And this is supposed to be Terrence Crawford's promoter. Terrence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao were both top-ranked fighters for how long? How long? And that fight couldn't happen when they were both top-ranked fighters. And you want to sit in and accuse Terrence Crawford of not being able to make a fight? No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. That's Bob Arum. Bob Arum is the problem. Bob Arum has always been the problem. Gamboa Lopez. We didn't get that fight. Why? Bob Arum.
Lopez who?
Juan Manuel Lopez.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah, that's my boy.
Where's
Okay,
where's the offer from Arum? Where's the offer from Arum fight? I mean, the offer from Al. Where's the offer from Al fight, doctor?
Listen, look, I don't
What's
know.
the hold up? I'm just trying to find out what's the hold up. What's the hold up?
Talk to Bob. Bob is the hold up. Arum is the problem here. Okay?
What's Al doing? What's Al doing? What's
Listen,
Al doing? Where's
What's
Al's
the-
role in this? Where's Al's role in this? What's Al's role in this? The fight, doctor. Come on now.
I would love to explain. And I'll give you an example. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was a top-ranked fighter for years and years. And what happens? He leaves top rank, hooks up with Al, and then what happens? What happens next? He goes and he makes more money than any fighter in the history of the sport. Okay? So all this talk about Al Heyman as with regards to Bob Arum, it needs to cease. Stop. Because there's one guy who has a track record of making his fighters a lot of money. Then the other guy, he has a track record of Muhammad Ali's and other guys who left the sport broke. So Bob Arum is the problem. Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford were both top-ranked fighters for years and years. That fight did not happen. Why? Can somebody tell me why?
Can we have some clerks in chambers, please? This is getting out of hand. Lisa Bettis, I think you was just.
I remember Bob said years ago, it was in a video, he said he stopped that fight because he didn't want to see Manny get hurt. That was years ago. He had said that.
Yeah, I remember hearing. Yeah, I remember hearing that. Okay. How is Arum the problem for?
But at the time, man.
Yeah, carry on, Lisa.
But at the time, Crawford wasn't exactly a welterweight yet, so maybe he wanted to. But Manny left after that Jeff Horn loss, if you remember. He left Top Rank.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Bob didn't want his wallet to get hurt. Okay, says Tone. Okay, so we've thoroughly chopped that up. And like I say, we're here for a good time, not for a long time. So let us keep it moving. We're looking at, hold on, let me make sure you can see what I can see. Okay, so we're looking at the can I call him the Enigma? The Enigma, Mr. Gary Russell. Can I call him the Enigma? Okay, so Gary Russell and Ray Vargas agreed to terms for a featherweight title fight as per agreement from the WBC. Okay, so Gary Russell Jr. is set for his annual. I don't know if they're taking the Michael there. Set for his annual title defense. Very funny, but true. The longest active reigning male titleist in the sport today is set to next face Ray Vargas, 34-0, 22 KOs, with the two sides avoiding a purse bid hearing for their ordered WBC featherweight title fight. News of the matchup being finalized was revealed by the WBC. Let's have a look. Vargas was previously named champion in recess at his old weight after having sat out for all of 2020 in part of the pandemic. Pandemic problems due to the pandemic. Vargas was granted an opportunity to compete for his old title upon return. The 30-year-old from Otumba, Mexico, instead opted to move up in weight with the agreement of being inserted in the sanctioned body's mandatory challenger at featherweight. With that came an official close to his 122-pound reign. With that came an official close. With that came an official close to his 122-pound reign, which included 5 successful defenses. The last of which was a 12-round decision against former bantamweight titleist Kameda in July 2019. Okay, so Russell's coming up to his 6th anniversary as WBC featherweight champion, his reign outlasting every male boxer in the sport today. Of course, he's been able to preserve himself by merely fighting only once per year. Okay. What is there else for me to say? Russell has also sought high-profile showdowns with Gervonta Tank Davis and and even unbeaten Terrence Bud Crawford. Oh yeah, he was talking greasy about Crawford a little while ago, but he turned down the Josh Warrington fight. He turned down the Devin Haney fight. He does a lot. Seems like he does a lot of turning down. Does Mr. Gary Russell? Iron Kong.
The truth is, man, Gary Ross is a guy who I know precious little of Gary Russell in terms of fighting because he fights so sporadically.
Yeah.
Like, I really can't. Like, I would have to think back a ways back to the last. I didn't even watch his last mandatory against the Mongolian guy.
Yeah,
and I didn't watch that fight. And before, I don't remember who he fought before that, to be honest with you. I mean, Gary Russell is one of these cases that somebody would have to explain to me because he has to have large reserves of money. Like, he has to be well taken care of on the back end by Al Heyman because he does not fight. And even people like maybe Wilder, Joshua, Canelo is trying to fight 3-4 times a year, and these people are double-digit million earners, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Gary Russell fights once
a year.
So it's I don't understand Gary Russell because, as you said, he turns down a lot of fights.
Yeah.
It should have been him in England putting the beats to Josh Warrington. But he said the offer was beneath his standards.
Crazy.
I don't know what these standards are.
Crazy.
But I would really like somebody to explain to me the career of Gary Russell and why it's like this. I honestly don't have an opinion on his next. I don't know, to be honest. I just need explanation as to what is this man's issue.
The Fight Doctor.
Shut up and fight. That would be my message to Gary Russell Jr. Look, I like fighters who fight. I like fighters who talk and fight, but I don't like fighters who talk. And Gary Russell has been all talk, no fight. So shut up and fight. Okay? Just that simple. Shut up and fight.
Naam Bar was his last fight. Previous before that was Kiko Martinez. Previous to that was Joseph Diaz. Previous before that, Oscar Escandon. Previous to that was Patrick Hyland. Look at those names and look at the names he's turned down. It seems that he can make a certain amount. He can make what? Let's say 2 million a year. Can make 2 million a year, or let's say a million a fight, maybe 2 million altogether. Maybe you can live on 2 million a year. Can live on 2 million a year pretty comfortably, I guess. Is it more than 2? Is it 3? I don't know. You can live comfortably on 3 million a year, I guess. But why not? Why, but as explained to me by Rick Glazer, he said, but if he fought twice a year, he wouldn't be getting 6 million a year. Maybe get 4.5. If he gets 3 for 1, maybe get 4.5 for 2. So it turns that down. Maybe if he gets 2 million a year and he fought twice, he wouldn't get 4, he'd get 3. Or it turns that down, and he preserves the belt. Preserves the belt by fighting once a year, turning down bigger names, not interested. The curious case of Gary Allen Russell Jr.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, well, it's your turn, Lisa. Come on in.
So this fight with Ray Vargas, right?
Ray Vargas.
This is a unification fight, then, right?
What is it? Let me share the screen again. Let me bring up the article. Boom. Gary Russell, it's not unification because the guy's coming up. The guy's coming up from a lower weight class. So Ray Vargas, no, it's just a championship fight. There's only one belt on the line. There's only one belt on the line.
Come on, man.
Oh, wow.
Gary Russell Jr.'s WBC belt. Curious case of Gary Russell Jr. The man who did the least. Fighting once a year, not unifying, turning down big names. He's worked out a formula. Listen, he's worked out a formula where he can fight once a year and not extend himself in any way. Why fight a bigger name, maybe a weight division up, maybe 2 weight division up? Why do that and risk things when I can guarantee 2 million a year? If I didn't have the belt, I'd be lucky to get $500,000. So why take the risk? Why not stick to this formula, fight once per year on the anniversary, and keep hold of the belt. Keep hold of the belt and keep hold of those $2 million paydays if it's 2 million. If it's 2 million. If it's even that, but he keeps hold of the belt, he can say, well, listen, I'm a tiny weight. And the money doesn't tend to be there. Money tends to get bigger the heavier you get. Not exclusively. Cruiserweights and light heavyweights, they're not really glamour divisions. But your middleweight, your welterweights, those kind of divisions, that's where the money, the real money is. So Gary's just playing it conservative. It's the curious case of Gary Russell Jr., the enigma. Just doing enough to hold on to the belt, and that is in the $2 million paydays, and that's how it go. That's how it goes, folks. And we're directly on the 1 hour 30-minute mark, 16 seconds. How you like them apples? And that's the show. That is the show. Gary's very talented. It's a shame we haven't seen more of him. Hey, he's got a formula. And it works for him. Maybe Gary Russell, well, he's certainly preserving himself. He's certainly not wearing himself out.
Preserving himself for what exactly?
Preserving himself for damn. He wants to be healthy in old age, maybe. He's just saying, hey, I want to play this safe. I want to stay out to the ring, preserve my brain cells, preserve my body. I want to be able to do my thing when I'm older. You know, I want to be able to do my thing when I'm older. I don't know. I don't know if that's how it goes. I don't know if that's what the fans want. I mean, once a year, it's not satisfying, but clearly it works for him economically. Works for him. Guys, we've come to the end of another show. Very animated, very, very intelligent. Great to have you. Great to have you in here. We have the final words. Final words from Lisa Bayliss. Great to have you on, Lisa. Great that you would take time out of your evening to join us over here, the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. And of course, I don't need to remind you guys to smash the like button. If you've enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. And absolutely, big shout out to James Jameson, who made a super chat donation. So he was the sponsor of the show. Much appreciation goes out to James Jameson. Smash those good buttons, folks. Lisa Bates, great having you on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Always.
You know, hopefully we'll get a announcement soon, and far as the heavyweight thing, and then you know the Usyk and what's his name, Joyce fight will happen, and you know, best wishes to Gary Russell.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully this will be a really great fight. Ray Vargas, it should be a pretty good fight with Ray. And what else did we talk about?
Are you happy with Gary Russell's work rate? Are you happy?
I mean, I would like to see him more because I really like him. I think he's a talented fighter, but at the end of the day, it's his choice. You know,
Yeah.
I know he has hand issues, so brittle hands break a lot. But I mean, I don't know. You know, this is at the end of the day, is he puts himself in the ring and take those hits. So,
Yeah.
but I would love to see him more, and his brothers, because his brothers are very talented too.
Yes, indeed, very talented indeed, and much thanks to the Lisa Bayliss. Thank you, Lisa. Have a great blessed day. Until the next time.
You too. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so that was the Lisa Bayliss, and then there were three. And the Fight Doctor. The Fight Doctor. Your final words, please. Thank you for taking the time out from stirring your noodles. And coming over to join us today.
The noodles were garnished with mushrooms, and it was very good. Very good.
Very good, very good. Your final words, sir.
Right. So, anyone who worships the undisputed gods needs to reconsider their religion. All right. And Exhibit A would be that farce of a mandatory that we saw the other day with the fight between Alvarez and I forget the guy's name. Yildirim, right. So look, if you like undisputed titles, then you have to love the mandatory matchups that we get, like we got a couple of weeks back. And you have to like the fact that a guy who's done nothing at heavyweight, all right, all of a sudden is in a place where he potentially could disturb the undisputed title fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. So if you're going to pray to those gods, then accept their blessings. And in this case, the blessing is unworthy mandatory title shots, like what we saw a couple of weeks ago, and like what we're seeing in the case of Usyk, who has done nothing at heavyweight. Nothing.
Okay. So some interesting points raised there by the Fight Doctor, and much appreciation goes out to the Fight Doctor. And then there were two. Yan Kong, your final words, please. Thanks for coming on as per usual.
Rafi, thanks for having me. I just want to report that it's now 23 degrees Celsius in Montevideo. It's now -4 degrees in Warsaw. It is also 24 degrees Celsius in Buenos Aires and 19 degrees Celsius in Beirut. I want y'all to have a good evening or good morning wherever you are. This is the Iron Kong, the Shropshire Slasher, about to run out and get a double-decker back to my flat in Shropshire. Peace, Rafi.
And that was the Iron Kong. Much appreciation goes out to the Iron Kong, the fight doctor, the lovely Lisa Bayliss. And much appreciation goes out to everybody who took time out of their day to come and spend it over here at the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. And yes, it was indeed a great show. Thanks to everybody for coming by, for stopping by. I'm looking for something. Can I see it? Can I see it? Can I find it? Searching. Can we do it? Can I do it? Yes, I can. Can I kick it? Yes, I can. And yeah, we're going to see you again. Supposed to have a guest lined up, did have a guest lined up, but you know what? It's so much easier to just create a show and press the go button rather than having to liaise and then search and then find and then send this link and then send that link and the other. It's so much easier to just forego all of the rigmarole. I'm writing to the Queen. To get pigeon pardoned. Well, you know, just before I went live, talk about Queen. Just before I went live, I just planned to play We Are the Champions by Queen. The lyrics just came into my head and I'm going to play it directly after this show too. We Are the Champions. What a arousing song. We Are the Champions. So Queen, yeah. But you know what? You know what else is rousing? You know, another song that I found quite rousing. It's this one. It's my composition. What the hell is that? Am I sharing the right screen? Is that the right screen? Is that the right screen that I'm sharing? Is it? Really? Could it be? I don't know. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is the right screen. Okay, move on just a little bit. Just a tad. What's going on? Is this thing scrolling? Can I do this? Can we do it? Let's try and get this tune up. Let's try and get this thing done. And with that, I bid you all a fond evening.
Deontay Wilder, play us out. It's the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio Show. You're welcome. It's the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio Show. On your interwebs and on YouTube and other platforms, it will spread like wild Mexican weed in the grass. Welcome to the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio Show just for you.
Boom, boom, boom. Blessed.